Well, my name is Cheyenne, but a lot of people call me Jane. Everyone calls me Jane, and I'm a stripper. Growing up poor really motivated me to not want to be poor anymore. I don't know, I was really young and I was about 18. I'm jumping from job to job, working at Applebee's, Buffalo Wild Wings, stuff like that, and I couldn't even afford rent to live anywhere. And I was pretty much living with friends. So I ended up going down to New Orleans, and at the time I was selling weed. So I was like, New Orleans is a pretty good place to be selling weed and stuff like that. So I went down there, and just one night, I decided I'm just kind of done with it. Like, I really want a good job. I want a good education, and I was just drunk walking down Bourbon, and I saw Penthouse, the strip club, and I was like, well, I mean, what do I have to lose? And so I walked in there, and my whole story starts there. Like, I just went up. Penthouse was a really good club to start at. They were really strict on like drugs and alcohol, and if you were underage, especially, if you were drunk, you were fired. So I was always making sure I was on my A game there, and I was there for about 5 years. I got through college, almost done with my associates, but I paid for 4 semesters of college with that and got my own house, and I just never really went back to being poor. When I started at Penthouse, I was about 18, 19, like just the legal age of starting to dance. They hardly hired me. So I thought the audition was going to be like in private with just a manager and security or something upstairs. But no, my audition was on the floor in front of hundreds of people on a weekend coming off of Bourbon Street. And so I was in this Walmart bra, these little thing of panties, and a girl upstairs actually gave me a pair of shoes to dance in. And I auditioned and got the job somehow. It was really, oh my goodness, it was a lot. But I did it, and that night I walked out with over I want to say about $1,500, and I was able to get a nice hotel. And the next day, of course, I went back, made another over $1,000, and it was just something I kind of really enjoyed. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I do.
Some people grow up without a sibling. And
Yeah.
because you grew up with a sibling, so you had somebody that with you to experience all this stuff.
He was there. I feel like he got a little brainwashed a little bit by my parents a little. Like, my father always hated it that I stripped. So he kind of made it seem like I was a whore and stuff. So my younger brother kind of followed in his footsteps, and I never really had that support from that side of my family. But I actually left the house at about 15, 16, and I moved in with one of my really good friends who I call my sister, and my actual father, not my biological dad. But he pretty much took me in when I was younger, and he actually kicked me out of the house when he found out I was stripping. And it was hard, but he came around and he started realizing, like, I'm not a prostitute. It's a job. The best way I describe it is I am a therapist in lingerie. He accepted me for who I was and knew what I had to do for money just to pay for school supplies or clothes and stuff like that. And so yeah, I left the house at a very young age, and I did leave my brother there, and I don't know, I feel like that kind of impacted his opinion of me, but We don't really talk anymore. I honestly kind of want to get out of stripping and start doing more streaming, more than anything. Playing Fortnite. I know it sounds childish, but it's one of my favorite things to do.
So I know with Fortnite, you got like spend a lot of money to get like a lot of different things.
You don't have to spend too much now. I only pay the monthly thing, where it's like $15 a month.
Gotcha.
And you really get any skin you want. And it gives you V-Bucks, so you don't have to spend money on it after that.
Oh, that's good.
I always tell people, just like, go ahead and get the monthly pass if you're gonna fucking pay for it. But I play it a lot, so it's worth it to me.
So, do you play any other games other than this?
I mean, really only like racing games, like Forza and stuff like that. But this is the main game that I stream and play. And I have a lot of friends that have been streaming for a long time, and that's what they do for a living. And so I'm really thinking about, or I'm really trying to move towards starting to stream instead of stripping. And they make just as much money as strippers. And I don't know, video games just, they give me that, I get to come home, I'll get off work at like 2, 3 in the morning, and I'll just be able to just, with all that club music still in my head, you can't just lay down and go to sleep. Like, and you can't, just like get fucked up and go to bed. When you're a stripper, you gotta, it's a job. Like, you can't just, it's your job to party and act like you're partying, but not actually party. You don't do drugs, you don't get drunk. Like, you gotta stay on your toes. So when you get home from dancing, or when I get home from dancing, I'm sober as hell. And I'm just like, I need something to keep my mind still going and booming and just like playing video games. It really helps me just ground myself really and get to scream at a TV and not offend anybody. And just, I don't know, it really helps. It helps with a lot.
Other than video games, you also sing and write.
I do. I'm more write than sing anymore. I used to sing a lot. I just, I don't know, I really love writing. Writing is, I don't like to talk. Talking is not my strong suit, but writing, it just gets me, I don't know. Writing gives me that, where I can just sit down and look at what I'm saying and what I'm writing, and I'm able to talk about the struggles of being homeless and living in my car and having to sell weed and other things for money and stuff like that. Not like sex or anything, but more drugs. And I'm able to just like look at that and just reflect instead of just talking about it. I'm not a big talker.
Me neither. But I do have a question on that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it. So I know being a stripper, it takes a lot of fit and strength. So what do you do to make sure that that you are unfit enough to, work that pole, basically?
Oh, honestly, you don't even have to be fit to work the pole. All you have to know in your head is that you can do it. So, say you're holding a pole and you want to do a little flip or whatever. If you know that you can do it, you're gonna do it. There's really not too much strength to it. The whole reason I even have upper body strength is because I do like push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups and stuff like that. But no, like when it comes to the pole, you just have to trust the pole. It's not going anywhere. Hold on for dear life, and you got it. Like, you have to know in your head that you can do it. If you have any doubt, you're gonna fuck it up. But if you know you can do it, you're gonna be able to do whatever you want. A lot of girls put a bad name on stripping, and it's not like that for a lot of us. If you are in an abusive household, whether it's your family, whoever it is, get the fuck out now. Get out. You can do better. If you want to start stripping, you need to stay away from the people that do drugs. As simple as that. Drinking every now and then is fine. But when it comes to the drugs, there is a lot now. Like, after COVID, it's like everyone's doing drugs. And everything is fentanyl based now, and it's terrifying. I've had so many friends die from fentanyl, and just be careful. Be careful. Don't ever take a drink from somebody that you didn't watch the waitress pour and then you put in your hand. You know, don't ever put yourself in some kind of situation where you know in your gut that you shouldn't be there. It's a hard job. It's a really hard job. But if you do good and you stay off drugs and you stick to the good people, you'll make it. And you can make a whole living from it. You finish college, you can do whatever you want. Buy whatever you want, get whatever you want. But you have to look at it like a job. It's not just partying every night. You pretend to party. You can't just go there and party. You have to pretend. When you start partying as your lifestyle, you get lost. You get lost in it. You can't let that happen. And I did for a couple years, not gonna lie. You know, I did for a couple years. But I learned that it was not the right way to go. And I'm so much happier now that I've been sober from cocaine, ecstasy, pain pills, fake Xanax, all that stuff. I used to do that for years, but I've been sober from that for years now as well. And after I got sober, I realized how stupid I felt. Just, you know, I would go work and make all this money and then just go turn around and spend it on drugs. There was no point. You gotta find the right people in that club. You gotta find the right people.
A time in your past, a memorable moment you can think of that comes to mind whenever you are struggling through these different times when you're working and going through those things that you have to deal with. Is there like a time that you can just go back to that can bring you back to reality? Like, this is why I'm doing this.
My nephew being born. The most memorable moment of what I go back to when I start dancing is being there for my sister and her son. And I never want her to struggle like we used to. She was right there with me struggling. We would have to steal school supplies and shit. Like, I never want to bring us back to that. And I never want Eli to grow up the way we did. I keep a picture of my sister and my nephew in my dance bag every time I dance. Every time I go and strip, I open my bag and it's the first thing I see is how I don't want them to go through what we went through at a young age. And my sister works. I mean, she works, but it's hard for her to dance. It's not for everybody at all. It's really hard for her. And, yeah, so I do it for them.
That's good.